There's multiple reasons for having an e-portfolio. They can be used as repositories for documents, which is probably its lowest level of use, and I do use it for that. But secondly, you can use it as a learning tool. It can be a showcase for student work. You can put their curriculum vitae in there. You can put in projects that they've done for classes. And then I guess the other thing you can use it for is for assessment. And that's my next goal, is to be able to have some assessment tools that I can put into an e-portfolio and I can pull out to document that my students are actually learning what I say they're learning.
I thought it was important for my students, especially since a lot of them are going on to either graduate programs in writing, or they're thinking about ways that they can market themselves as writers in the field, and having a website and e-portfolio base of their work and of their writing philosophy is going to be imperative for them. Because everyone from grant applications to employers are looking for ways to see what students are thinking about, the work they're producing, and they want it in one concise format. So an e-portfolio is just fantastic for that.
From a faculty perspective, we have developed a grading grid based on the AACN essentials for baccalaureate education, and we can evaluate our program. How well are we teaching critical thinking? How well are we teaching therapeutic nursing practice, by finding out what scores our students get on the portfolio and a couple other key projects. From a student perspective, we try to tell our students that they get two things out of the portfolio. Number one, it's a great marketing tool for them as they go out for their career. A lot of the hospitals locally know about our portfolios, and they expect the students to bring them with them when they come for interviews. We've had a couple students recently who have moved out of the area, and they come back and tell us, I got this job because of my portfolio. The students who are local, everybody expects to see that portfolio. It showcases what they can do, what our program's about, why you want to hire me. These are my best works. This is my philosophy. This is what I know I want to be as a nurse. So I do think it's worth the time and the investments for the students. It helps them identify their strengths and their weaknesses. It helps prepare their minds for those first job interviews they're going out to. And it gives them a great completed package when they go out and they're competing for jobs.
My advice to faculty who are starting out is make sure you know why you want to do it, what it's going to do, and then give yourself the time to learn it yourself. The best piece of advice I ever got was at they call it an ABLE conference. It's a conference on e-portfolios and authentic learning. And the thing I learned there was, if you're going to expect an e-portfolio from your students, you should create one. And I did. And that was the best thing I ever did, because I learned the ins and outs of it. It took me about 4 hours to create one, but I have a fairly decent e-portfolio, and now I can just add to it every week, every month, every semester.
I went to people who already had some experience with the technology and who were able to tell me what was available at Old Dominion and what my students could get help with, because I knew that I would be learning right along with them. So getting help from outside sources, but then too, just not being afraid to try new technologies. I have some things that relate to the e-portfolio that I didn't even know would be useful. I have a writing blog, and now we're all tweeting and doing Facebook, and so all the things that have become kind of a normal part of our existence, even in an academic setting, are the things that you have to do to sustain an e-portfolio. So it's I found that it was a much easier endeavor and undertaking than I ever would have imagined it was. So it's beneficial. It does take a little bit of learning on the front end and a little bit of thinking about ways that I could build it into my classes, thinking about ways that I could do it in small pieces so that students weren't overwhelmed with this huge project at the end. But thinking about all that up front helped me think about ways that I could improve my student learning outcomes in my courses, and ways that I can improve my students, their professional lives, etc.
The advice is to come up, what are your goals of this? For us, it's program evaluation, and it's also having the students be marketable for themselves. And then being able to have faculty who sit around together and decide what are the key things that the students do during this curriculum that we really need to highlight at the end. We do these as a grade, for our students, and it's 25% of the senior practicum grade. So one of the things you also have to make sure that you are doing from a faculty standpoint is working on a grading rubric and integrator reliability, so that what I read and what you read and what somebody else reads, everybody gets fairly evaluated.
Well, for me, the ePortfolio has been very helpful in just, one, learning how to make a website, because I was completely oblivious to the whole website creation. And also, for me, it's helped me learn more on my own rather than relying on the instructor to give me the information that I need. It didn't take that much time to really learn the technology side of it, because our teacher has us using Wix.com. It's really just like Word. It's very simple. I like using it because pretty much everything's the same. The only thing that you really have to worry about is going through the pages. That's something new that I haven't done, but it was very simple and easy for me to do. And I definitely think it's worth it.
In the past, I used to have the students hand in a project in my nuclear medicine class, my nuclear physics class, where they would pick a particular radionuclide and then do the research on it. They would find out the history, they would find out how it decayed, the radiations that come out. And they would hand in usually a couple-page piece of paper. And they weren't very creative. I mean, they were very sterile. And while I enjoyed that, and that's great, I wanted them to get a little more creative with it. So one of the more interesting things I've done is they use the ePortfolio. The students now use Wix at Wix.com, which is one of the sites where you can create an ePortfolio. And they now have tabs, and you can click on their tabs, and they've gotten very creative with the colors and the fonts and the backgrounds. And I find that they're learning more about the radionuclide because they have a little ownership with it, and everything is very creative, and it's in the way they've envisioned it. So it's more of a fun project, but they still learn.
What I found is that students are more engaged and actively thinking about ways they can reflect on their own work, because I've asked them to build in things like multimedia elements, find artwork that not only emphasizes the writing that you're doing in the course, but also tells us something about yourself. They have to then think critically about what kind of art can I find that will help not only illustrate who I am, but why I'm including this work and why I've been working on these themes. So it makes them think beyond just the here and now. It makes them include things from their past learning experiences and bring them together with things that they're learning at the moment. So I like that thought process that they have to go through to make one cohesive statement about themselves and their work.
What we found in the past is that students lose assignments. Laptops get crashed, they fall out of cars, the dog ate my homework, whatever it is. And what we're hoping is now, by building this portfolio site in the beginning where everything gets dropped in there, the students shouldn't have that senior year, oh no, I have no idea what I've done with it kind of thing happen. So what we do during that last semester is, in class we have seminar every other week, and faculty members are each assigned 10 students, and we mentor them through the portfolio process, where they are looking at the assignments, which one meet their needs. Okay, you want to be a pediatric nurses, which ones of these can be a peds focus, and trying to tailor a finished product that they can use to showcase themselves. So we meet with them every other week. They send us samples of their little introductions to each of their artifacts. We give them feedback on it. I've had fantastic creative portfolios that have just revolving pictures and video in them. So I show these to my students before it happens so that they know what a portfolio looks like. I say, look, these are created by other nursing students just like you. You don't have to be a computer geek. You don't have to be a programmer. You don't have to be a web designer to do this.